Hello, my friends. Today, let's start right away with the situation in the Dobropillia direction. Evacuation is actively taking place here, and the Russians continue moving forward. As of last night, there is no official confirmation of new Russian advances, but the Russians are already claiming they have moved beyond Zolotyi Kolodiaz. Our troops have liberated the settlement of Zolotyi Kolodiaz and advanced toward the village of Novovodyane. We have also liberated most of the settlement of Veselye. A total of 13.2 square kilometers has been liberated. This may mean that if they can't be stopped, they will continue consolidate their positions here and the highway will be completely cut off. And if we look at the situation realistically, the Russians keep driving wedges into our defense lines, and over the past 2.5 months, they have advanced about 25 kilometers in this way. Even when they were practically surrounded, they still managed to move forward each time. Today, the width of the advance is 5 kilometers 400 meters, and that's just the confirmed part, with a length of at least 12.5 kilometers. This is a very large section of the front, and it will be difficult to cut it off now. If the Russians keep bringing in reserves here, the situation may develop in their favor. They're also actively using drones and trying to move further. Here is what Ukrainian armed forces soldiers are also saying about this. All I can say about the Dobropillia war is that combat work is ongoing. The Russians are slowly being found and cleared out. We already have some of them captured. It won't be easy, it won't be fast, and there is no guarantee we'll be able to restore the line of defense to where it was before the breakthrough. Most likely, we won't get back 2 or 5 kilometers, but let's not guess. It's better to help our armed forces. I know this situation has made many in the command think about real checks on the placement of personnel in positions deeper in our lines. I also send a huge hello to one brigade in whose sector the breakthrough happened and which lied about controlling certain positions. Lies will kill us. Overall, the situation is very difficult, and the general staff is trying to fix it somehow. Friends, be sure to write your opinion about this in the comments. At the same time, it's very important to note that while all attention is focused on the Dobropillia direction, a very serious collapse on the front has begun in the Pokrovsk direction. Yesterday, it was reported that the Russians entered the outskirts of the city of Rodynske and entrenched themselves there. This information is also being confirmed by local residents. So, in reality, we are gradually losing Rodynske. And on the geolocation maps, a large gray zone has already appeared. I think everyone remembers how just days ago the Russians broke through to the closed mine. And today they are already claiming that their forces are moving practically toward the village of Hryshyne. If they manage to gain a foothold there, Pokrovsk and Myrnohrad will be completely encircled. As you can see, the Russian advance is now measured in dozens or even hundreds of square kilometers per day. I want to draw your attention to the fact that they have taken control of the slag heap of the Krasno-Limanska mine, which gave them visual control over Rodynske and the surrounding territory. And of course, the big question arises, why hasn't this done from our side? And why weren't these areas controlled to prevent the Russians from reaching the mine? A very big question. friends, be sure to share your thoughts about this in the comments. Meanwhile, in the Kostiantynivka direction, the Russians are also taking advantage of the situation. While all eyes are on the Dobropillia sector, they have managed here to seize Poltavka and even push past the village across the fields. They have also captured Rusynyar. In addition, yesterday it was confirmed that they broke through near their village of Stepanivka, also across the fields. As the attacks continue here, the Russians are trying to move further. Furthermore, offensive actions are being recorded near Yablonivka, Sherbinivka, Alexandru Shultine, and Stupochki. Activity is high, and as we can see, the front here is also gradually moving forward. Now moving on to the Novopavlivka direction. The Russians are assaulting Dvorichna, pushing through near the village of Zeleny High toward Novovodyane, near the village of Tolstoy, and attacking Alexandrograd and the outskirts of Voskresenka. However, for now, there are no new changes here, and the Ukrainian forces continue to repel all attacks. In the direction of Velyka Novosilka, the Russians are pushing near Maliivka, the village of Shevchenko, and are storming Huliaipole. Over the past day, there have been no changes, but activity here also remains high. In the Huliaipole direction, the Russians are pushing toward the villages of Olhivske and Poltavka, but for now all attacks here are being repelled and the front line remains unchanged. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, the Russians claim they are intensifying their offensive, but so far we are not seeing this. Reports mention attacks on Novoandriivka and fighting in the area of Kupiansk, as Ukrainian forces have been carrying out counterattacks there. Otherwise, there have been no significant advances in this sector. In the Kherson direction, the Russians are attempting breakthroughs in the area of Antonivsky Bridge and on the islands. They're keeping up the activity, trying to break through in hopes that the Ukrainian forces won't spot them and they can secure new positions. However, for now, Ukrainian forces are successfully destroying all their groups and there have been no changes to the front line. Now moving on to the Siversk direction. Activity here also remains high and the Russians still have enough reserves. They are advancing toward Yampil, assaulting Serebryanka and pushing beyond Grigorivka and Vyimka. However, over the past day, there have been no changes. Fighting continues for control of positions. In the Lyman direction, there have been more than 20 assaults in the past day. The Russians are attacking Dvorichna, pushing near Yampolivka, assaulting Shandrygolove, and trying to break through near Karpivka and Druzhelyubivka. However, there have been no changes over the past day. In the Borova direction, the Russians are assaulting Boguslavka and Nova Kruhlякivka, but activity here is low and the Russians have made no advances. In the Kupiansk direction, the Russians are gradually managing to push toward encircling Kupiansk, expand on the city's northwestern flank. There are also continuing attempts to enter the city from the north, but the Ukrainian forces are holding the defense as much as is still possible. In the area of Dvorichna, attacks continue near Krasnopershe with attempts to break through the fields toward the village of Kolodiazne, but so far there have been no new changes over the past day. In the Kharkiv direction, things are currently quiet. The Russians are not launching new attacks, and in Vovchansk, the situation has also stabilized for now. However, attacks are again being recorded on Vovchansky Hutory, though the front line has remained unchanged over the past day. In the Sumy direction, the Russians are trying to turn the situation in their favor and advance, attempting to break through in the areas of Oleksiyevka, Yablonivka, and Yunakivka, but without success. Attacks also continue near the village of Totkina along the border, but the Ukrainian forces are holding the defense and the front line remains unchanged. And Zelensky said that Ukraine will not retreat from Ukrainian territory that Russia wants to take.
Just yesterday, during your conversation with Ukrainian journalists, you said that Ukraine will not leave Donbass in exchange for a ceasefire. Has your position changed in any way after today's talks here in Berlin?
As for my position, it has not changed because it is founded on the Constitution of Ukraine. As long as the Constitution of the state remains unchanged, the position of the guarantor of this Constitution cannot change. We discussed these issues today. Of course, they are very difficult questions. I want to immediately emphasize any matters that concern the territorial integrity of our country cannot be discussed without regard for our state, our people, the will of our state, the will of our people, and the Constitution of Ukraine. Thank you.
Trump also said that if the war isn't stopped, it will end very badly for Russia.
Agree to stop the war after your meeting on Friday?
Yes, they will.
What will the consequences
There will be
be?
consequences.
Sanctions, tariffs?
There will be, I don't have to say, there will be very severe consequences, yes.
He also said that on Friday there will be a preparatory meeting, and if everything goes well, the next week there will immediately be a meeting with Zelensky.
The second meeting, if the first one goes okay, we'll have a quick second one. I would like to do it almost immediately, and we'll have a quick second meeting between President Putin and President Zelensky and myself if they'd like to have me there.
Trump also said that he's very satisfied with his previous talks with Zelensky.
The opposite. No. We had a very good call. He was on the call. President Zelensky was on the call. I would rate it a 10, very, very friendly. I know the leaders because I was at NATO, as you know. I took it from 2% to 5%.
Finally, Trump said that most likely there will not be a ceasefire in the air. Trump wants to completely end this war.
With Vladimir Putin Friday in Alaska,
Yeah.
do you believe you can convince him to stop targeting civilians in Ukraine?
Well, I'll tell you what, I've had that conversation with him. I've had a lot of good conversations with him. Then I go home and I see that a rocket hit a nursing home or a rocket hit an apartment building and people are laying dead in the street. So I guess the answer to that is no, because I've had this conversation. I want to end the war.
We very much hope this will happen, but it's too early to say because no one knows the conditions of the ceasefire yet. And that's all from me. So please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.